Purple Positivity with Justin Ekstrom, brought to you by 7th Avenue Pizza. Grab one at your local grocery store or your local holiday station. 7th Avenue Pizza, before pizza became trendy.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's do this. The very last Purple Positivity of the 2023/2024 season. It's going to be switching to playoff positivity. I love NFL playoffs. I love these matchups that we have this first week. I think there could be a couple upsets. But for right now, in this episode, I'm just going to kind of put a bow on the 7-9 or 6 and what did they end up? 7-9? Is that right? 7-10, whatever it was. 7-10, 7 wins. Yeah, the Vikes just didn't get it done. And I'm telling you right now, it has to do with everything that we saw. It has to do with all the injuries. It has to do with Kirk O'Chains not being in there. It has to do with Kevin O'Connell only being the second year, having a great season last year, not being able to build on that. Brian Flores, it has to do with his defense getting found out. Like, it's just his third and fourth quarter defense in the last few games, no good, no bueno. And I'm just hoping he sticks around, because the leap that they made from last year to this year defensively is great. And maybe him shitting the bed with his defensive scheme the last 3 weeks will get him passed over one more year. I hope that we can somehow get Danielle Hunter to stay. I hope we can get Justin Jefferson locked up. It sounds like they're going to pay him. I know they have an offer in place that they're thinking of giving Kirk Cousins, or there's rumors of that, where it's like 38 per year for 2 years. I don't know if he declined that or if that's even true or not. But that's what you got to ask yourselves. Would you be okay with Kirk Cousins for 2 years, $38 million per? I don't know. I'm kind of scared from his injury too. Like, he'll be back to start next year, but Achilles injuries, it's not like back in the day where that was almost the end of your career. Now they can do things a little bit different. They can put things together a little bit better. It's a little less intrusive to the surrounding joints and the surrounding ligaments and all that stuff. I'm definitely no fucking doctor, so hey, I'm the Sports Crib 21. I never even said that before Justin Ekstrom. I just started off guns a-blazing right away on this episode. But Kirk Cousins, I do want him back, to be honest with you. I didn't realize I was going to say that out loud until I said it out loud. I want him back. I want him back in a situation in which we have him and Justin Jefferson and Danielle Hunter. Is that possible? I don't fucking think so, to be honest with you. I don't think this one last year right here is the last of the sins of our father that the children are paying for. The last of the Spielman and Mike Zimmer era sins by overpaying, by back-end loading. This upcoming season is the last season where there's a lot of dead money. I don't just mean a lot. I mean a metric shit ton of dead money. And not until the year after this coming year will they have some stuff open up. Once they have that open up, I thought I saw you have like $170 million to do what you want with, but you also don't have anybody signed, so that's a catch-22 as well. Speaking of 22, I think we saw the end of Harrison Smith. I think that's the end of the Harrison Smith, the Hitman era. I believe it's a Hall of Fame caliber safety career. In my mind, I think he did enough where he should get voted in the Hall of Fame. I don't know if he's going to. Depends on how many other people are 5-6 years away. Like if he retires this year, how many other people are going to be on that same first ballot? I don't know how many people are going to be those returning ballot guys that didn't get in the year before. I think Harrison Smith is a Hall of Famer. First ballot, not 100% certain on that one, but I think in a given, like in a decent situation, he could definitely get in the Hall of Fame. And I think we've seen his last game for the Minnesota Vikings. I think we might have seen his last game. Unless there's something they can work out. You could just tell towards the end there when I'm going to pinpoint it. I think I said this in last episode where they were telling everyone who was the starter for the Pro Bowl games and who was the whatever. There was no intensity. It was almost like it was a retake. Like they gave out the awards 3 or 4 or 5 or 6 different times because it was like a can we go to fucking Acapulco now? It just looked so ho-hum. Anyway, a couple positive points on this Purple Positivity podcast. Positive points. I loved what Kirk Cousins did. I love how entertaining this season was. That's something that I've been saying all year long. It was pure, unadulterated entertainment. We got the Josh Dobbs experiment. Like the fucking Pastronaut. How awesome was that for 2 weeks? We talked ourselves into Jaron Hall and being good. Like he was there for a week and a half. He was the next coming of Jesus Cristo. And maybe we were just going to ink him into the Hall of Fame and he was going to save all of our Christian ponderisms from years past. Like he was going to save it. He was our savior. And then that went away. And then Nick Mullins, there was a couple drives where you're like, holy crap, how come 19 different teams passed on this guy? Oh, wait. Yeah, now we see why. Because he's a weird, like everyone thinks he's safe, but he's a weird gunslinger without an actual gun. Like he's throwing those ducks up with like a slingshot as opposed to a gun. Either way, super entertaining season. I know a lot of people aren't going to care about this, but at the beginning of the year, I said, hey, there's just a couple games on the schedule in which I think it could go one way or the other. I had them at 8 and 9. They ended 7 and 10. That's, obviously not going to cut it. 8 and 9 almost would have made the playoffs the way it looks. 9 and 8 definitely would have made the playoffs. I think another point of positive, Daniil Hunter. He showed up again. I said he was going to have 17 sacks, 15 to 17 sacks. He had that. He had 22 TFLs. Led the NFL, and that's the most in the Minnesota Vikings uniform. Congratulations to him. That's a point of purple positivity. Daniil Hunter, man, doing that 1-year contract under Brian Flores, and now he's going to go get paid because anyone that sees his muscles and veins that also have muscles and veins, he's going to get paid. I don't think it's going to be here. I wish it could under Brian Flores one more time, but they're not going to franchise him. They're not going to piss him off that way because he'll just sit out. They're not going to do that. They're not going to pay him the $30 million that he wants per year that he might go get. Either way, it was a super entertaining game, and we didn't have to talk much about the kickers at all this year. Like it wasn't like, oh my God, we lost because of the kickers. Thank God for that because that was getting old. That was getting real old real fast. Having to be like, oh, cripes, kickers. And their offensive line. There were points where this looked like an actual cohesive unit. Where Dalton Reisner, that was a good trade going and getting him. I don't understand why they didn't have him in there right away. There was 2 games in there where he didn't take a snap. But then once the injury happened, then he comes in at guard. And he did a good job. He was worth the $2 million. He went, I don't know how many snaps it was, offensive snaps without pass blocking snaps, I should say pass blocking snaps without giving up a sack. So there you go. I mean, there's 3 points of positivity right there. And it's just fun being a fan. Like in the fandom that I'm in right now is just watch and see what happens and then talk about it. I'm not going to speculate too much what goes on here forward. We'll talk about that after the playoffs, but next episode here in a couple days is going to be playoff positivity. And I'm going to talk about some games that I think are going to be super entertaining and whatnot, and we'll go from there. So thanks for listening to the 2023-2024 Purple Positivity for the Minnesota Vikings. Both of my listeners, I love you guys, and I hope to see you next year. Obviously, I won't see you, but I hope you guys listen in next season. Otherwise, stay tuned for playoff positivity. Love you guys, and Skol, bitches.